What's going on, guys? Well, today we're talking about this metal bar here. Not so much the knives. I know you're curious about the knives. You'll see those in future videos. But I want to talk about this actual magnetic bar. Now, I got this one from GearBest like a month ago or so. I've been using it ever since. My original purpose for this was for the kitchen. I have like maybe 4 or 5 miscellaneous kitchen knives that I don't really have a spot for. They kind of sit in a separate drawer. And I figured it'd be nice to not only display them, but have easier access to them in the kitchen, right? So when I first got this in the mail, I was very excited about it. Went to go put it up and realized I really don't have a place for it in my kitchen. I have a very small kitchen. I think I've showed it in videos years ago. I did like a house tour. But it's a very small, cramped kitchen, and I don't really have a spot that I could put this bar other than behind my stove. But then I was thinking, if it's behind the stove, if I happen to bump one and it falls behind the stove, I'm screwed. I don't want to take the stove out to go get my knife. And in addition to that, even if I never dropped any, just in cooking you can get grease splatter or splashes of food on it and stuff. I didn't think it was a good idea. Even though it might look nice, it wasn't very practical. So now I'm like, well, okay, what am I going to use this bar for? And immediately I thought, all right, well, I'll put it in my office, and that's where we are right now. I have a little calendar that's above that, and I figured I'll leave it there, and I'll put all the knives that I'm using on it, So when I'm rotating through different stuff, grab my EDC for the day, I'm always grabbing new knives so I can test them and carry them and, see what they're all about. And that's what I'm using it for. So what you're looking at right here are a dozen different folders that are currently, being used, EDC'd back and forth, and under the testing phase. So eventually I'll do reviews on these. No guarantee I'll do a review on all of them. One I will definitely do a review on is the ZT, because I know a lot of people already comment that I post this picture on Instagram. And that's another thing I'll talk about very briefly in this video. And I'll get more into it, in the future when I do the video on the ZT. But it's basically the big question of, why don't you review ZT knives? And it's just because I usually review stuff I have access to. It's that simple. A lot of people love ZTs. They don't offer them all that much to me in trade, stuff. I happen to get that one in a trade. But that's all it is. I don't have a problem with them. I think they're great knives, and eventually you'll see a review on that particular one, which I think is the 0350. But anyway, so you can see this is the 16-inch one that's on GearBest. These range in general, not just this one, but this one I think is like $28 or $29 on GearBest. But you can get these things everywhere. Kitchen stores, kitchen outlets. You can get them online. Various websites have these things. They're all over the place. This particular one is stainless steel, and this is the most common that you'll see, where you basically have this stainless steel block, but it's not like the whole thing's a magnet. These actually have black caps on the end. So I pull this plastic cap off. Alright, you can see. You can't see it right now, but inside there's basically a foam backing, and there's a magnet that runs the entire length, but it's much smaller. It's probably 3/4 of the height of this bar. So that's what's actually creating that magnetism that you need to have your knives stick. Alright, so if you ever need to replace that magnet or something, you certainly could. Pop this cap back on. Alright, now this one came with double-sided tape. It was all ready to go. So I literally took it out of its plastic bag, peeled off the backing. It's like super heavy-duty tape. There's 2 strips across the back, and literally just stuck it to the wall here. Now, I plan on having this here as long as I'm living in this house. When I eventually rip this off the wall, it will take the paint. I happen to have paneling here, so if you have wallpaper, or if you just have a regular painted wall, if you're going to use the sticker, understand if you go to take it off, it's going to peel that stuff off too, so you have to repair the wall afterwards. But there's other ones on the market where they have different holes, so you can just mount them with screws. That's a different option as well. There's a ton of these things. This one, like I said, around $30, but these in general range anywhere from like $20 to $50. It just depends on the style, the brand. This is a no-name brand, whatever. It's not specific to any type of company or anything like that. It's just magnetic tool strip, basically. And the 2 purposes for them mostly, number one is in the kitchen for your kitchen knives mainly, but you can also put like miscellaneous metal kitchen items. Maybe you want to hang a whisk there or something, or a thermometer. Who knows? But the other thing I see a lot of people get these for is for their garages and workshops. So they can put miscellaneous tools. You put a bunch of different screwdrivers or whatever. So, the sky's the limit, but for my purposes, obviously, as you can see, it's for knives. Now here's a question I'm going to answer before it's even asked. A lot of people are going to say, well, it's metal on metal, is it going to scratch? I haven't had a problem because I'm careful. If you slam these things on there, yeah, you might scratch your blades. Also, remember, all these knives are being used, so I don't care if there's a little scratch on it or not, but I have yet to have any kind of scratches. I literally go up, place it on there, and that's it. That's all it takes. All right, very easy to grab them, very easy to put it back. If you are worried about scratching or metal on metal contact, might freak you out a little bit, they do sell ones that are wood. So instead of having this metal casing, it's just wood. I've seen bamboo, I've seen all different types of wood. It's just a thin, wood veneer, I guess, on top of the actual magnet. So it still magnetizes through the wood. I have no personal experience with those. But again, if you're kind of freaked out with the idea of putting these on there, especially if you have very expensive collectible knives, you don't want them getting scratched up or something, that's an option. The other thing you may worry about or wonder about is, getting the knives magnetized, okay? Because you're using a magnet, you might think, all right, well, what if you magnetize this metal, and then you go to sharpen your knife, and all those little filings are staying stuck to your blade because it's magnetized. Have not had that issue personally, but it's very easy to demagnetize metal. You can watch, I'm sure there's YouTube videos about it. I know there's articles online, different websites show how to do that. So if that is something that happened to happen, if it occurred, not a big deal. Okay, so I just want to share this idea with you guys. I mean, like I said, originally it was for my kitchen knives, and it was kind of a little hidden blessing because I didn't really think it through. I thought, oh, this would be great, and then I went to go put it up on the wall, and I went, where am I going to put this thing? And it just didn't work out. But now it's working out great for this intended purpose. So who knows? Maybe you want to throw your whole EDC on there. Obviously anything that's going to be able to stick to the magnet will work. You could throw your keys on here if you wanted to. Your knife, that kind of stuff. Flashlights shouldn't really be an issue. But yeah, let me know your opinions down below. Let me know different uses you may have for something like this if you do happen to use these already. Just a cool idea. I like it. I might get another one in the future, a bigger one for fixed blades. The only issue obviously with fixed blades is I have to keep the sheaths separate, in one container. If I have a bunch of them, lined up, you got to keep those sheaths somewhere. So before I go, I just want to mention two things. The first off is, like I said, you don't have to limit yourself to just knives. You can use this for all different stuff, EDC stuff. Even if you're just a flashlight guy, it works great for that as well. With some of the bigger, heavier flashlights, you have to kind of experiment to see what it's going to support. All right, this is the ThruNite Neutron. Very large, heavy light in comparison, obviously, what I just stuck there. And this light, I'll maybe do a video on in the future. Super cheap, like $2 light from GearBest. But see, like, it's not going to hold it up here. It'll hold it down here, right, where there's more metal that's going to actually stick. So you have to kind of experiment and see how this is going to work. If I try to put it like this, you can see there's nothing there that's keeping it from staying. Okay, whereas on the base end, or the butt of the flashlight, there's enough metal to support the weight of the flashlight. The last thing I want to say is that this the strength, the magnetism on this particular one is very good. It's extremely strong across the whole bar. But I did notice on the very end caps, okay, because remember there's a space here for the cap, so the magnet starts like right here. So you have maybe 1/4 of an inch up to a 1/2 inch on the end that's a little bit weaker with that magnetism. So all across the bar, the knives stick like crazy. But on the very end, I don't suggest putting anything heavy, okay? Some of your heavy folders, or even if you put a fixed blade and you try to cram a bunch of knives on here, it may not hold as well. So like with this Buck and Bear, on the very ends, if I put it too low, it's not going to support the weight of the knife. I have to have enough metal on there, so I have to put it right in the middle, and then I'll support it. But even then, you can see how it's sliding a little bit. Again, that's because it's a little bit weaker towards the end. So it holds it fine on here, like this. But again, if you're going to throw something on that's heavier, it might not stick. So you have to kind of experiment there. Now my last tip, if you're going to get this specifically for fixed blades, especially longer fixed blades that are heavier, you might want to double up on these bars. You can do 2 bars either next to each other or have a little gap in between. This way you have much more contact surface and a lot more magnetism to support the bigger, heavier knives. But anyway, just a interesting little find here on accident. Works great for EDC stuff, works great for my purpose of hanging basically all the knives that I'm going to be using, for testing and review. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.